Okay, I think we're live. I'm pretty sure we're live. Hello, hello. Welcome to Turn15 channel. Hungarian Grand Prix tonight from the Hungaroring in Budapest in Hungary. Lovely stuff. It's a lovely hot day over there. The weather's been a little bit all over the place, but it looks like it's going to be nice and sunny today. 70 laps of the Hungaroring, this nice little bowl go-kart kind of track for a Formula One car. It's short, it's twisty, it's it was very famous for being like Monaco without the walls back in the day, but they revised the circuit. They revised the circuit back in 2003. I think it was the first race where they extended the front. And with this current generation of cars, with the DRS, with everything else, it's actually all right. It's not that bad for racing, to be honest. We've had a few decent races here in the very recent past. It used to be a very snooze fest sort of a race, but it doesn't look like it lately, and it doesn't really look like it today because it's a very interesting grid that we've got today. Notably, we've got two cars that should be fast coming through from the back of the grid after disastrous qualifying for both of them. And well, fuck it, let's go for the grid. Norris, Piastri, that's your front row. Amazing. Again, McLaren, absolutely on it. They're really riding the crest of a wave here. Still not won a race since Miami. They should have probably won Silverstone. They should have probably won Austria. Maybe they should have won Spain. Either way, they're starting to throw a lot of results away. So considering they got the front row nailed here, you'd think that probably they can get it done today. You're bloody hoping so. If you're a McLaren fan, if you're a Norris fan, if you're a Piastri fan, that you're really, really hoping something can get done there. Verstappen third, always ever present, always up the front. Can he get it done again today? We'll see. He's not that happy right now. He's not that happy with the car. He's not that happy with the updates that they put on the car. He hasn't seemed all that happy with the RB20 at all, to be honest. It's been a very trying time for Verstappen, which is strange to think because he's won, what, 7, I think, or 8 races? 7, I think, this year? Crazy numbers. The only guy with repeat wins this year, and he's not been bloody happy with the car. So we'll see what he can do, because when he is happy with the car, well, that's when you get 2022 and 2023, where it's just an absolute steamroller. Either way, Verstappen third, Sainz in fourth, good qualifying lap out of him. Hamilton fifth, a little bit of a struggle for Mercedes. I thought they might have been a bit more competitive, but not yet. We'll see what they can do in the race. Leclerc is sixth, Alonso and Stroll seventh and eighth, and then Ricciardo, Tsunoda ninth and 10th. Lot of speculation about Ricciardo, a lot of speculation about the second Red Bull seat. Is Liam Lawson going to get it? Is Ricciardo going to get it? Is Perez going to hang on? Anyway, we'll get to that because 11th, Hulkenberg. Another decent qualifying by Hulkenberg. 12th, Valtteri Bottas. Pretty decent lap out of Valtteri yesterday. Albon 13th, Sargent 14th. That's a good lap out of Logan Sargent. I think it's probably too late to save his career, but we'll see. A lot of speculation about his race seat after the next couple of weeks as well. But again, we'll see. K-Mag is 15th. Perez, 16th. Fuck. Checo, bloody heck, mate. He really needed a decent qualifying. I mean, we've still got the race to go. You never know. You can pass here now, so you never know what he can do. He had a pretty decent recovery last year when he came through the grid again, but... I came through the field rather, but oh god, that's it's real worrying times if you're Checo Perez and if you're a Perez fan, and I am a Perez fan. I love the guy, but fuck, it's really starting to get a bit desperate. Anyway, George Russell 17th, just unlucky more than anything. Didn't nail the qualifying lap when he had the chance, and probably went a little bit too early after the red flag, so. Just basically got jumped by everybody, which is a shame, but, you know, that's what it is. Zhou Guanyu in 18th, sort of limping around the back there. He's, I get the feeling this might be the end of Zhou Guanyu in Formula One as a race driver this year. You know, 3 years. He got 3 years as a Grand Prix driver, which is more than a lot of kids get. So, you know, if it is the end for him, I think he could be pretty happy with that. Had a decent qualifying here last year, and it all went pear-shaped. So we'll see if today's race is any better. Starting 18th, I doubt it, but it probably couldn't get any worse than last year. Ocon 19th. Looks like Pierre Gasly will be starting from the pits. Alpine totally threw it away yesterday in qualifying. The only team not to send its drivers out after a red flag. When the track was really ramping up and there was a ton of time to be found, they totally fucked it up. They're starting last, so Alpine, we'll see what you can do. Like I said, it's not impossible to pass the air anymore. It's just very difficult, but it can be done. It can be done, so we'll see. Most of the action will be into turn 1, probably a little bit into turn 2, outside chance of turn 3. It was in, I think, Formula 2, they were 3 wide into turn 3 yesterday. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. If we get anything like that tonight, then I will fucking pop the biggest race boner you've ever seen. And again, this isn't a race boner that I'm playing with right here. It's this little guy. Yes, hello. Who seems to have calmed down for once in his fucking life at the start. So fantastic. The stream's off to a good start then. Now, what have we got? About 4 or 5 minutes till lights out for the formation lap. Interesting news coming out. So the last couple of days, driver market wise, last couple of days, it's emerged that Esteban Ocon actually had a seat fitting with Williams at the Williams factory, which is pretty incredible news, to be honest. They said that it's part of, Ocon has not announced where he's going next year. It's very likely going to be Haas. There's an outside chance it's Williams. They said that they invited him there just to sort of feel out, basically your typical contract negotiations, showing him around the factory, things like that. It happens with a lot of drivers that they're serious about. It will start to progress to stages like invite him to the factory and things like that. A seat fitting is very different, though. I've never heard of part of a contract negotiation of a will he, won't he, maybe sort of signing on, being a seat fitting. The word is that he was supposed to be replacing Logan Sargent, who has been, he's got no points this year. And Williams, pardon me, Williams really need all the points that they can get. They're struggling right now in the Constructors' Championship. It's not a good time for them. So, they basically hatched a plan. We'll get Esteban Ocon in. Pardon me. We'll get Esteban Ocon in, who James Vowles, Williams team principal, has worked with before. We'll get Ocon in because he'll be a decent shot at getting points in the second car for the rest of the season. And it's at the point, no pun intended, it's at the point now where basically 4 or 5 points here or there could really make the difference between, say, finishing 9th and finishing 7th, which is a whole lot of money. For these teams at the end of the year. It's very, very important for a team like Williams to be able to capitalize on shit like this. Also equally important for a team like Haas. Now, they have been bagging points this year. They don't have as much as the Visa Cash App team, but they have been bagging a lot of points. They don't want to let... they don't want to see Williams doing it, so they haven't been that keen. They've told Esteban, cool your fucking shit, we don't really want you going there. So the word is apparently Haas, who Esteban is likely to sign for, most likely to sign for, more than Williams. They have told him no, but also Alpine have stopped Ocon from leaving early. Bruno Famin, however you say that, and Flavio Briatore stepped in and they said, no, do not leave because you'll go to Williams and we can't afford them scoring more points than us for the rest of the year. And it is die time for Alpine because they are 19th and pit lane start today. Unlikely to score many points. They've been coming a little bit good lately, but, it's a move like that. And it's a shame because I wouldn't have minded to see Jack Doohan in the car. 3 Aussies on the grid would be fantastic. It'd be nice just to see what Jack Doohan can do in a Formula 1 car. He looks pretty handy in an F2 car. Is he the next Verstappen? Fuck no, but, it would have been nice. It would have been nice for him. But it's probably unlikely that we'll ever see him in an F1 car. Either way, Ocon to Williams, probably not going to happen. Kimi Antonelli, though, might end up in that seat. I think there'll be a bit more to talk about next week, but Kimi Antonelli won the feature race of the F2 race of the F2 series this weekend, earlier today. His hot property, that's 2 race wins now that he has, a sprint and a feature race win. Toto Wolff was saying that he wants to see more out of Kimi Antonelli before he's really ready to graduate him to Formula 1. Well, we're seeing a whole lot of Kimi Antonelli right now. He's 6th in the championship now, but that doesn't matter. It's just how quick is he and can he put away wins? And he's starting to put away wins. 2 laps to go until the formation lap, by the way. So what's that, about 30 seconds or so? Anyway, any other news? K-Mag's out of Haas. We all saw that coming. Where he goes now, probably out of Formula 1. Teams with new bits that aren't quite working, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Red Bull, a whole lot of new bits on their cars, and a whole lot of them aren't really working that well. So the formation laps just gotten away. Looks like no issues so far. Some marshals are very, very quick to wave the yellow flag. Very, very, very quick. You know, if a car is just starting to get going, they will just start waving that shit like crazy. Just a inconsequential thing that I've noticed anyway. There's the Aston Martins coming over the rise. Very slow away the back half of the grid. Very, very, very slow. They're just crawling there. Almost like they don't want to start the race at all. They've almost stopped. Like, come on, guys. Jeez. Whatever. Anyway, as they get around on their formation lap, looks like decent weather as well. So I don't think the rain that made yesterday so much fun, I don't think that that's going to come in today. Although it has been wet at the Hungary a few times in the last few years, and it's usually turned it into a whole lot of fun. I remember 2021 was an absolute fucking mess at the start because it absolutely pelted with rain right before the start. Then Valtteri Bottas went bowling. God, that was a hell of a day. And Esteban Ocon won that race from Sebastian Vettel and Aston Martin. Very, very, very crazy race. And Seb, who got disqualified after that as well. Here he is. Former winners. So Verstappen in 23, Verstappen in 22. Yeah, basically. Hamilton, I think, has won here 8 times. So we'll see if he can add a ninth. Reigning race winner as well. We haven't been able to say that for 2.5 years. So, you know, is a good show. Good showing by Lewis in Silverstone. Very good showing. We'll see what he can do here. He always finds an extra few tenths at Silverstone. He can always turn it up there. That's why he's won there 9 times in his career now. I mean, last week, I think, or last time out rather, was a real throwaway of a win, I think, by McLaren. But, you know, Lewis is there to capitalise. Always feeling it there. Usually feels it at Hungary, so we'll see what he can do today. All comes down to the start. The start's very, very important here. It's the grid starting to take formation. There's Kimi Antonelli in the garage with Toto Wolff. Could well be seeing him in Formula 1 before the end of the season. I get the feeling Logan Sargent, and I said this before, earlier in the year, I get the feeling Logan Sargent will not last because Williams cannot afford him as a passenger anymore. He's basically done for next year. He's not going to be coming back. He'll probably end up in IndyCar or something like that, maybe an IMSA race or something. Okay. I get the feeling Kimi Antonelli will be here from Zandvoort onwards in a Williams either way. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 lights, 5. Out. All right. Looks like a decent start. Oh, the McLaren's very, very close. Very, very close. Both of them started well. Verstappen's coming around to the outside here. Oh, Max has got to try the squeeze. And he's run way, way wide. Look at Lewis. Look at Lewis coming up. I said he can feel it here. Verstappen up to second. Jesus. So Norris absolutely ruined that start. Oh, very close with Lewis there. They touched. I think Norris might even... Oh, he'll be lucky to get away with a puncture there. Or without a puncture, rather. I definitely look like contact between the McLaren and the Mercedes. Looks like everybody else is sort of filtering in. Oh, look at Albon getting in the mix as well. Okay, so there's a lot of complaining on the radio already about the antics of the McLarens and Max. Max is one of those guys that would just keep escalating no matter what. You know, he would just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So Norris, very importantly, is third, not fourth. If he got stuck behind Hamilton, I think he'd be in a lot of trouble. But third is, he can work with that. He can stick with Verstappen here. You know, Lewis isn't the easiest car to pass. And, God, look at Piastri going. Here we go. 1.5 seconds. Piastri over Verstappen in second. Then Norris in third. Hamilton, Leclerc, Alonso top 6. Then Sainz down 3 places. Jesus. Stroll, Albon, and Magnussen. So Albon and K-Mag have had amazing starts. That's Logan Sargent going side by side with Perez. 2 guys who we will see if they will both see out the season. Perez needs a good race today. Really, really needs it. But he's not going to get past Logan here. So Checo down to 18th now. Fuck, that's painful. So a few of these guys have had amazing starts. Look at Ocon up to 15th. Russell's picked up a couple of places. Sargent's lost out a few. So Hulkenberg's lost out a few. K-Mag's had a rocket start. Look at that, up to 10th. Gotta need a replay on this turn 1, turn 2 here, because looks like a whole lot of guys shuffled around. Verstappen saying he got forced off. He was ahead of the apex. See, they like to be clever with the whole forced off thing. Instead of conceding a corner where they should, or where they used to, say like drivers of past would, if you're getting past, you would end up conceding a corner like, okay, I've been beaten here. It seems just like the thing to do now in Formula 1, that you just keep your foot in. You go flying off the track and you say, hey, I got forced off, you know. Not sure I really buy that shit. Anyway, here's Carlos Sainz getting by Fernando Alonso. So Sainz up to 6th. Nando down to 7th. So stewards are looking at Max Verstappen then. Oh, I'm not sure how I'd call that. I'd have to see a replay. I don't want to call it too early. I mean, the stewards are basically obliged to look at it because McLaren's reported it. Red Bull probably reported their own version of events just to try to get ahead. So we'll see. I get the feeling if Norris doesn't get his way, he's going to lose his fucking rag. Because starting from pole, he's been chomping at the bit. He's been so close to a race win the last few rounds, and to throw it away right at the start here is going to be a bloody nightmare for him. God, a real nightmare for the guy. So Red Bull is saying to Max to let Lando past, and Max doesn't want to do it. Oh, there he goes. He doesn't want to do it, but he's going to do it. Probably the smart thing to do, because if you get smacked with a penalty, it's going to hurt a whole lot more than just trying to get it back here. The problem for Lando Norris is he's now 2.9 seconds behind Oscar Piastri in front. Now, this has been the scene of Jenson Button's first win. It's been Fernando Alonso's first win at the Hungary ring. I get the feeling, I mean, it's lap 4 of 70, but if Piastri can keep it going, and he's already shipped half a tenth to Norris, that's not good. Maybe I am speaking too early. Verstappen saying, okay, so you can just drive people off the track. Buddy, see, he did this in Austria as well. It's sort of the Max thing where his wheel-to-wheel is hyper-aggressive. Very, very aggressive. Not dirty, just very aggressive. And like I was saying just earlier, it's sort of the in thing with Formula 1 drivers to just keep your foot in it and then go flying off the track and say you were forced out rather than just concede the corner. Now, I do want to see a replay before I really say for certain who I think is at fault or what's happened here. I mean, the stewards haven't said anything about it, so I guess Max giving up the position has just kind of cancelled everything out. So here we go. Replay at the start. So interestingly, the front row of the grid hasn't had the best race start, F3, F2, or F1 this weekend. At the very least, the pole sitter has choked every single time. So Piastri has the inside line. He's doing fine. Max is trying to squeeze. Okay, so Lando's been forced out wide by Piastri, who's taken quite a wide apex through turn 1. So I don't think that's forcing... I don't think Lando has forced Max Verstappen off there. I think Lando has been forced over there himself by Piastri on the inside. It's just... I mean, this is just a consequence of 3 cars trying to get through the same apex and Max Verstappen being well off the racing circuit when he came back in front of Norris, I think is probably a slam. According to the rules, it's probably a slam dunk penalty. So on board with Piastri. Yeah, hits the apex, runs it wide. So it's good driving by Piastri. Good forceful pass there. Just means that Max Verstappen was collateral damage in that, which is always the risk that you run when you run the outside line through turn one. So 6 laps down, Piastri, or rather working the 6th lap, Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso, Stroll, Albon in 9th and K-Mag in 10th. So I was so focused on the front as well, I didn't even look at the big shuffle that was going around the midfield. Hulkenberg down to 20th. What in the fuck's happened to Hulkenberg? I don't think that's a pit stop. He's not far enough behind. Have I missed something here? No. I think Hulkenberg did stop. So he's onto his hard tyres already. Okay, so I think while we were doing all those, either while we're doing those replays or just before that, Hulkenberg has peeled off into the pits. Okay then. Interesting. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So Albon into the pits. K-Mag into the pits. Oh, watch out, K-Mag. Bit of a lock up there. Ocon's in the pits as well. I'm kind of surprised that Red Bull aren't going a bit more aggressive with the undercut as well when they're trying to get Perez past a lot of this traffic. So Albon out of the pits, ahead of K-Mag. Ocon out of the back. Hulkenberg has gotten past all of them. In fact, Hulkenberg has absolutely made some ground here. Which is a good move for Hulk as well, because the amount of space that the amount of positions that he dropped at the end of the first lap. I mean, shit, he's already passed Albon and he's already passed Magnussen. Because what was Hulk, about 14th, 15th after lap 1? And Albon pitted from 9th place, so I mean, fuck, looks like the undercut's really going to work. Oh, here we go. So who's this? Alonso in the pits. Looks like Danny Rick in the pits as well. So you'd imagine this will get Daniel Ricciardo out in front of Yuki Tsunoda as well. Ricciardo, I'm starting to feel, will be a decent fit in the Red Bull. And I'm not just saying this because I've been simping for the guy for over a decade. And I've been hurting for the last few fucking years as well. But I get the feeling, just looking at Perez still behind Logan Sargent there, I get the feeling it's almost at the point now. Look at K-Mag going around. Ricciardo, though, on the track. That's the difference between warmed up tyres. Warmed up tyres, completely up to pressure. I mean, that's right there. That's the undercut in motion. It looks like Cash App RB has shipped a few fucking places here. Which makes you wonder. Now, Perez has started on the hards. Gasly started on the hards. Russell started on the hard, so they won't be pitting soon. Checo being sold short with the tyre strategy. Hards means long stint that keeps him in the train for ages and negates any possible undercuts. I get it. Unless they think that they can run him on a one-stop and make it work. Although the one-stop here, not really feeling it today, to be honest. It's high temperature, which means a lot of tyre deg. Now, Perez is a bit of a tyre whisperer, but... and there we go, Sargent's just got out of his way by ducking into the pits, so that's very important for Checo there. I think Checo kind of sold himself short this race by bidding it in qualifying more than anything. I think this is a lot of just a damage limitation. Um, I mean, really, Checo should be fourth. He should be running up there right behind Verstappen in front of Hamilton. I mean, at the very least, that's where Red Bull want and need him to be, especially now that teams like Mercedes and McLaren keep on taking more and more points out of Red Bull every single weekend. They've been doing it for the last few weekends. They've been outscoring them. And if they keep this up, Red Bull, they've got a decent lead right now, but they will not win the constructors championship. In fact, that's part of the reason Checo might be getting the arse out of that team. If they drop to second, or I don't think third, but it could happen because there's still a lot of racing to go. If they drop that far, and if Checo stays for the rest of the season, I wouldn't imagine him to be doing this every single weekend. You know, he's got to get back on the podium at some point. But if they drop to second at least, it means a whole lot of bonuses aren't paid at the factory, and it means a whole lot of people get offside with Checo. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the hard tire strategy to start the race. You never know if a safety car could come in and throw a Hail Mary for anybody, but they will be quick at the end. So I'm guessing Russell, Perez, and Gasly, maybe Gasly, are going to be doing, they'd hope, a whole lot of overtaking at the end. So we'll see. Starting on the hards means that their ultimate pace, the ultimate strategy, isn't going to be seen until right at the end of the race. But what they don't need is what's going on right now, which is Russell stuck behind Bottas. That Sauber isn't quick, and the Mercedes and the Red Bull need to get by it like fucking right now. And dear God, that is such a fucking ugly livery on that Sauber. I thought that I'd get used to it by now. I can't. It's just horrendous. It's got to be one of the worst looking liveries I've seen since, fuck, maybe the HRT days. Jesus Christ. That is a horrid shade of green in a very uninspiring livery. It just looks shit. Like, maybe that green on a black background looks good for an app logo, but it does not look good in a Formula One car, especially the way that they've done it. I'm surprised at how bad some of the liveries in Formula One can still get. Like a lot of teams like Red Bull, I like what Mercedes have done with the silver and the black. I think that's a decent, and the teal lines and stuff for Petronas. I like that. I think it looks nice. The McLaren, I like the orange. Orange and black always work well together. I remember the old arrows used to be the same, and it looked good. McLaren's livery is a little bit all over the place, kind of. I mean, it's got sort of like a generalized pattern, but it doesn't really do anything. But I'm surprised teams like Sauber, just, it's a bad fucking livery. It's a bad livery. Haas as well is always boring cars, except for 1 year. And even then, gold and black, like, it got done better in the Lotus days. And rich energy being all over the car made it look like a total piece of arse. Anyway, here we go. Lap 12 of 70. Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, still your top three. Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz, still your top six. Stroll's still out there on the softs. It's surprising. It's quite surprising. Because those softs cannot be lasting that long here. I'd say they've got to be right near the end of their life. And Alonso was also on the softs, and they pitted him a while ago now. Like, what was that, 4 laps ago now? Alonso now on the mediums. Oh, so I'd say Aston are kind of committing themselves to a 2-stop strategy here. So, we'll see. We'll see what... I mean, that's the fun part. This is why I like F1 Grand Prix more than a sprint, because there's all this strategy and all this other shit to come into play here. It's fun. It's a bit of intrigue, It's not just guys that will never be able to make a pass following other guys that will never be able to concede a position. So, Verstappen 2.5 seconds now behind Norris. So the top three look kind of just line astern here. They're I think quite content to just sort of hold position and wait for their pit windows to open here. Now the thing is, the top five, the top six actually are all on medium tires, so they're all going to be aiming for about the same strategy. We'll see who pits first. The interesting thing is, what are McLaren going to do? They haven't been great with pit strategies lately. They totally cocked it up in Silverstone. They cocked up both cars at different times. So we'll see what they do for Piastri here. Now, Norris is a very outside championship shot. The thing is, he is in the fastest car. I get the feeling it's a bit like Seb Vettel in '09, where even though he is going to be the class of the second half of the championship, the first half was so dominated by Max Verstappen, I don't think Norris is going to be able to catch him. Not unless he wins everything from here on out, and I don't see that happening. Although, just keep an eye, because Hamilton is keeping right up with Verstappen, isn't he? Yeah, commentary now going on about Bottas needs to be passed, and he really, really does need to be passed. Like, George and Perez cannot spend the rest of their afternoon looking at the back end of that Sauber. And not just because it's ugly as sin. Oh. So, McLaren telling Norris his race is with Verstappen, not with Piastri. Now, they didn't say it's not with Piastri, but they kind of implied that. Now, I wonder if that's McLaren doing a bit of their tried and true race to turn one and then hold position, which they used to do back in the Hakkinen and Coulthard days. I mean, for them, it doesn't matter. Piastri winning, Norris winning, doesn't matter as long as it's a win. It's 1-2 right now, and I think they want to hold that more than anything. Norris will have to come back next week at Spa and see if he can win that. Norris is very good at Spa. Max Verstappen is also very good at Spa. So next week is actually going to be, I think, very exciting. But that's for next week anyway. Norris right now, 3.4 seconds behind. And he did radio in on the formation lap. Well, not the formation lap, rather. The install lap on the way to the grid earlier, saying he had throttle issues. Oh, see ya. Alonso sounds very dejected on the radio. He's not having a fun time lately, is he? Really not having a fun time at Aston Martin. Here we go, Lance Stroll in the pits. And it looks like he's going to come out. Oh, definitely behind Alonso. Oh, yep, there's Alonso. Not a great stop for Lance either. And Albon's gotten by him. It looks like the K-Mag Haas is going to do it too. Yep. Goodness me. Now Ricciardo is going to have to get by Lance Stroll as quick as he can. Oh. So, Stroll has effectively shipped a position to Albon and shipped a position to Magnussen. Not good. Which means when the rest of the pit stops cycle, that should put him back in, 10th place instead of 8th? I think they might have run him a little bit too long in those softs. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out in the end, but we're 16 laps in and it doesn't look super promising for Lance Stroll here. Right behind K-Mag. Now, the good thing for Lance here, it's a slow stop as well for Lance, which really hurt him. Now, what went so wrong? It's a front left. Yeah, front left wouldn't come off. That's bad luck. It's bad luck. And I get the feeling, at the very least, that could have put him out right near as Stroll goes by K-Mag in turn 1. Needed to do that too, so good work, Lance. I get the feeling he might just have even got out in front of Alonso. Had that pit stop gone a little bit more right, or at least he would have been right side by side with him. Hmm. Oh, Mercedes pit stop. Who's this going to be? I get the feeling it should be. It's Lewis Hamilton. Yep. So, Mercedes are blinking first. Now, he only had about a second to Verstappen, didn't he? They're basically going to force Verstappen into a pit stop here. Which means I wonder what. I think McLaren have the capacity to double stack here. And I wonder if they will. The problem is if something goes wrong at the first stop, then the second stop's fucked as well. Oh. They've got 4 seconds of Verstappen behind Norris. So Bottas in the pits now. That'll release George Russell and Sergio Perez. Norris being told 100% pace. So this is going to be a pit stop. I get the feeling coming up for Lando Norris within the next lap or two. Box. Yep, there it goes. 100% pace means fuck the tyres. You're coming in anyway. God, Lando taking all of the curb. Oh, all of the curb into the pits and really locking up over the line. God, he's really pushing it there. The last thing he needs today is a speeding and pit lane penalty. That's a slow stop. Front left again, 2.8. That's not great. It's not catastrophic, but it's not great. Oh, Hamilton's being held up by Tsunoda as well, so that's good news for Lando Norris, and there he goes. Easy as you like. Now, what can Lando do? How long are they going to keep Piastri out? Albon past Stroll. Woof. Verstappen complaining about his car again. He's not been happy with it all season. Copy that, Max, as a response as well. I think Red Bull are just like, yeah, get on with it. No, McLaren are out for another pit stop, so it's going to be Piastri, so they're not going to feed him to the wolves today. 2.5 second stop for Piastri then. That should get him out well ahead of Norris then. Now I want to see how much time Norris actually made on Piastri here, because it was about 4 or so seconds. It looks about the same here. Yeah. 'This is developing into a very interesting strategy race here. So Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz is now the top three. The Piastri, Norris, Hamilton is 4, 5, and 6. Then Tsunoda, who hasn't stopped. Russell, who hasn't stopped. Perez, who hasn't stopped. Gasly, who hasn't stopped. Everybody else, 11th through 20th, has at least been through the pits once. So Norris 2.3 seconds now. So he did make up a little bit of time on Piastri, just not enough to really well, get ahead of him to really do anything here. Now, is it going to be a 2-stop? 50 laps around here on a hard tyre. I do wonder. I do wonder. The thing is, we've seen it here before, where a late pit stop basically gives you such a speed advantage over the other cars. It really does help you do something. I mean, I remember Hamilton chasing down Verstappen for the win a few years ago and nailing him with about 3 or 4 laps to go. So it absolutely can work. You need speed, you need perfection to get that strategy right. But it does work. It's like Red Bull are very wary of that. So they're keeping Verstappen out a little bit later. Leclerc and Sainz, I mean, God knows what Ferrari are doing. It's probably the one thing that we've learned over the years. Whatever Ferrari are doing strategically, I'm not even sure they know what they're doing. And if it works or if it doesn't, it could be a masterclass, but it could also just be a total crapshoot, roll the dice. You know, the guys who are generally Hamilton, this tire definitely has less grip, so he doesn't like the hard. You know those you're watching you watch let's say a Premier League game and there's a player who you know is just kind of shit. Well, not great. Bang average Premier League player, but they would just somehow bluter in the most ridiculous wonder goal out of nowhere. Danny Rose against Arsenal, for instance, something like that that you just do not expect, and you're like, Jesus Christ, how we do that? It's kind of what Ferrari are like with the strategy. You having fun? Hmm? Surprised Sonoda still hasn't pitted. I mean, this is what, 20 laps on the mediums. Here we go, Verstappen, box box. Ferrari as well. So Ferrari are just trying to mirror whatever Red Bull are doing. It's a decent strategy. Science. Now, Science is 5.5 seconds behind Leclerc, so I'd say the risk of an undercut is almost nil. Two and a half seconds bang average stop for Science. Now, where's Science going to come out? Is that behind Perez? Tsunoda's a really interesting one here. Because I mean, if he pits now, where the fuck's he going to come out? Almost right at the tail of the field. I mean, where would he be? But he'd be around Ricardo-ish. I mean, I suppose he'd have speed over the other cars back there, but it really depends what tire they're going to put him on. And I'd imagine they would have to put him on a hard tire. I'm guessing that they're going to try a one stop with Tsunoda and see how it goes. It feels like a slow boiler here. Like races like this, you know, hello. Races like this, maybe they bore some people, but not me. This is very interesting. We've got a few different strategies here, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they all play out in the end. Where do you think you're going, huh? Where do you think you're going? Oh, come here. The Cloak Radio, keep it up. This is really good driving. They're reading my tweets to him. Bless Leclerc. I think Leclerc versus Hamilton is going to be the story of next year. I really think so. except for if, I mean, the big stories next year I think are going to be where does Adrian Newey go? And even then, it's not going to influence the car next year, but from then on afterwards, it'll be a big influence. Apparently, it will not be Ferrari. Um, box, Leclerc. There he goes, and into the pits. Surely Tsunoda will be pitting this lap. Either that or I've got no fucking idea what the hell they're doing with him. Ugh, okay. Are you alright, mate? Ah, just. I mean. Okay. Move Max aside, shall we? This is cats. This is what you get. Guess I'll just hold this here. Lovely helmet, this, isn't it? Great colours on it. Alonso. Oh, really getting held up by Nico Hulkenberg here now. So there's a couple of little trains forming now in the second half of the grid, or the second half of the field, rather. I mean, from Gasly back, it's all quite compacted, but there's a lot of like proper trains appearing back there now. Which means that Gasly, who still has not pitted, is really starting to feel the end, I think, of those tyres. So what's this, a replay of Carlos Sainz getting past George Russell? Decent bog standard pass here into turn one. Yeah, easy. Cool. So, while this is going on, of course, any questions, comments, or anything like that, please feel free. Trying to think what else has been going on in the world of Formula One lately. Adrian Newey, yes, that's right. The big stories for next year. That's what I was talking about, wasn't I, huh? Adrian Newey, where he will end up. I've heard that it won't be Ferrari. I've heard that it's going to be, might be McLaren, it might be Aston Martin, it could be Williams. Those are the big three left. There is a chance. Oh, you see, you're back after all. You just don't want me talking about this, do you? So there is a chance that it will be Ferrari, of course, but we'll see. We'll see what kind of chance that really is. I'm personally, if what I've read is that Ferrari didn't want to play. Ooh, oh, Alonso getting very, very close to Hulk there. Basically, Newey wants to bring a tech department with him, bunch of guys that he trusts, which is fair enough. You know, that's his demands. He wants to work with that. He's the wizard, and the wizard wants his tools. The wizard wants his cauldron. The wizard wants all of these things. Now, what the wizard does not want is to be told, you must work with these tools. Because he says, no, I have my own tools, I have my own way of working, I have my own people, and that's how I get things done. And it's worked out magically for Red Bull. It worked out well for Williams. It worked out well for McLaren. They all won championships with him. So he has, I think, earned that sort of pull. It's probably why the financials behind Adrian Newey are so crazy as well, because he has a whole lot of people who he wants to bring with him. Now, Ferrari have said no, we have our tech department and that's who you'd be working with. He didn't want that. Aston Martin looked at his price tag and said, we're not sure we can really justify that. Hulkenberg really made a mess of that to turn one. Alonso right by him. Lance Stroll is having a big look up Hulkenberg now as well. Like his proctologist having a right good look at Hulk's ass. Oh, look at Stroll. Is he going to go around the outside? He's not going to make it. No, there's no room up there. That's what she said. Either way, wherever Newey ends up, it'll be the big one. And we're still no closer to any sort of a solution. Goodwood was last week, and he debuted his RB17. Now, there was no RB17 in Formula 1, because the RB17 would have raced in 2021, but they didn't do that. Albon not happy with the strategy, saying they're too indecisive. I mean, it's like a Ferrari simulator, isn't it? Yeah, anyway, RB17 looked amazing. I think only 50 of them are going to be made, but it looked like a fucking spaceship. Really, really impressive. So that's basically all Adrian Newey's going to be doing through the start of next year. Oh, Alonso having a right look at Gasly. Stroll past Hulkenberg. So the Aston Martins are making moves. Now they have added a whole lot more bits to their car, which have received a mild reception. Again, the new bits work. They're just not really propelling them up the grid like they wanted to. I think they saw, after the fever dream of last season where they were just getting podium after podium with Fernando Alonso to start the year, and really until McLaren got their act together, they were the de facto second best. A bit like Lotus used to be with Red Bull in 2013. Anyway, Aston not super happy with the car, but the new bits are sort of working, and well, we see them working here now. So how long is it going to take Alonso to get past Gasly? Shouldn't be too long. Shouldn't be too long. Gasly still has not pitted. Those tyres must be absolutely fucked by now. That said, Alonso's running quite old mediums as well. Lap 29 of 70, so we're nearly halfway done. Honestly, it seems like this race is actually taking a while now, to be honest. And you're getting a bit restless, are you? God bless. Anyway, Perez finally pits. Didn't look like the fastest of stops either. And apparently we're not going to even know what the stop time was. Looks like the RB team is in the pit lane as well, so that would have to be for Tsunoda. Now, where's Checo? He's behind Valtteri Bottas. Valtteri is haunting Sergio Perez and haunting Red Bull once again at the Hungaroring. There's something about Bottas just putting the shits right up Red Bull Racing at this track. It's historic. Now that's traditions. What was I talking about? Newey. Yeah, RB17 looks great. I'll never own one. I'll never drive one, so whatever, but it does look nice. Where he goes next year, it's a very interesting question. Nobody really knows yet. We'll see. I get the feeling... Oh, actually, it's too early to tell. It's too early to tell. And of all the teams left vying for his signature, all of them have ups and downs. You know, Williams, I don't think would be super competitive for him to go to. It would help them get back up the grid. Would they be champions? Unlikely. They've got a decent engine deal for the next few years. They have what looks like decent leadership now. Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, and Albon on the pits. Alright then. Anyway, Williams are on an upwards trajectory. Where exactly that goes, we'll see. Adrian Newey would help. I don't think they would be champions, so I don't know if he was really keen on doing that. However, if he joins Williams, the word is that they would offer him part ownership of the team, which means money, money, money. Now, Adrian's getting on, and his bank account already has more than money than he could ever spend in it, but that would be a legacy thing, I think, for his family to own part of a Formula One team, and they are extremely valuable nowadays, worth billions of dollars, which has never happened in the history of F1. So closing the shop means that we miss Andretti, but it also means that teams are worth a whole lot of money. So ups and downs. I think personally, I prefer to have Andretti in and then close the shop. I mean, the rules say 12 teams, so let's have 12 teams, shall we? Anyway, enough of that. So that's the Williams, or if not them, it could be Aston Martin, I think, who are like Williams but better facilitated, more money, better drivers, or better driver. So that'd be a fun project, I think, for him, but I'm not sure how sold he is on the Aston Martin project. The other one being McLaren, but I don't really think they need to break the bank to get him because their car is working just fantastic. In fact, their car is beating an Adrian Newey Red Bull here. Speaking of an Adrian Newey Red Bull on board, Sergio Perez getting past Kevin Magnussen, making it easy. The problem with K-Mag now is he has so many points, penalty points on his license. I don't think he can really afford to drive. Like, K-Mag is at his best when he can just drive like a right motherfucker. Like, when he's such an asshole on the track, shoving guys aside and shit like that. He's a very, like Max Verstappen, he's a very aggressive driver, and I think he really, really feels it. He needs to feel that aggression in his fucking balls to really, really get going. And all those penalty points and a ban looming over him, I think have just kind of noted him. Now, Haas already said that he's not coming back next year. If I were him, I think maybe I'd even just cop a one race ban at maybe somewhere you don't want to run. You know what I mean? Just speed in the pit lane or some shit like that. Cop a one race ban and then come back and then drive like an absolute motherfucker to end the season and see what you can get out of that. Because let's face it, his time in F1 is over. Come November, come December, I don't think... I mean, I thought in 21 we'd never see him in Formula 1 again, but here we are. But I think this time is for real. I think this time K-Mag's done. I don't think he will get the chop before the season's out, but I think at the end of the season that'll be the end for K-Mag. I've said for forever I want to see him in an IndyCar, because that would be fun. That'd be a lot of fun, because again, he could drive angrily. Look at Lewis getting so sideways on his tyres. He's really been ringing the shit out of those hards, hasn't he? Max Verstappen creeping right up on him now. Oh, Max going very deep into turn one there. 1.1 seconds now. Verstappen really, really has to get past Hamilton here, quick as he can, if he's going to get anything really out of this championship. Now, Drivers' Championship, Norris, it doesn't even matter. Like, second place, I think, is interesting. Norris is starting to really branch out on his own there. The fact that Ferrari is still third and fourth in the championship is pretty surprising to me. Not least because of the revival that McLaren's had. I thought Piastri would be a bit further up. Not had the best of luck though, has he? And the Mercedes, I thought would be maybe a little bit closer. And by closer, I mean closer to Norris. That's Perez making a move to the inside of Sonoda at turn one. Who's fighting it? Yuki, what are you doing, buddy? We are the track keeps driving drivers their first win. Looks like Piastri would join the club today too. Could well, honestly. I mean, who else has done it? Not Ricciardo, that was his second win, so close, very close. Alonso got his first win here. Ocon got his first win here. Yeah, Damon Hill back in the day got his first win here. Jenson Button too. It's weird how some circuits tend to do that, because this has always been smack bang in the middle of the season. You know, it's not like debuting a new season, so like Australia or Brazil or something, where a new car comes out and there's a new dominating driver. Russell box box. Look at Max all over the back of Lewis Hamilton here now. Like a hater on Twitter, he's all over Lewis Hamilton here. It's almost like this track is just blessed. And blessed with good luck for those who have not won a race yet. Russell in the pits. And look how far he's going to drop now. We're already behind Perez, already behind Tsunoda. It's going to drop behind K-Mag and Bottas. Maybe even Sargent. No, Sargent, Gasly both pitting. So, cold comfort there for Russell. Oh, the lucky bastard looked like he'd come out just in front of K-Mag. I think they just said Pierre Gasly is going to have to retire as well. Hamilton, big lock up into turn one. Max Verstappen really cranking up the pressure here. It's going to be side by side through turn two. Oh, Max is going to have to get him here. Yeah, look at all the grip that he's got. Oh, Max has gone well wide. What the fuck? Max completely cocked that up. What the you never see... You don't really see that kind of a cock up from Max Verstappen. Not in a corner like that. Not when he's got such a tyre advantage on him. So what is it? Lewis under pressure here. Locks it, goes wide. Max gets a great run through the kick, get a turn two. We've seen this move a million times before. Max just too fast into the corner. Just goes really wide. Has to get way out of it. Now Lewis is up the road. Lewis running out of there like the giggler in Death Wish 3. Verstappen now 1.2 seconds behind. And look who's creeping up on both of them, Charles Leclerc. Probably just for -5 brake bias and this thing just doesn't fucking turn. It's unbelievable, says Max Verstappen. Very, very unhappy. He's been complaining about the brakes on that car a lot this year. He doesn't like how the car handles. He doesn't like how the car brakes. It's got a lot of problems. It's Max Verstappen's radio's turned into fucking Festivus, isn't it? He's got a lot of problems with this car, and now they're going to hear about him. So what's this? Nico Hulkenberg getting past Zhou Guan Yu. Zhou Guan Yu, who is on 27 lap old hards. God, it's just cruel at this point. There's going to be absolutely nothing left on those tyres. Absolutely nothing left. Alonso's on 28 lap old mediums. Jesus Christ. Alright, mate. So Verstappen now. He's still with the DRS and Lewis Hamilton. That's a big closing speed, but he's not close enough to really make it count here. Charles Leclerc's creeping up behind him. That'll just be for a view. I don't think he's going to actually get involved in this fight. I don't think he's got the speed for it. You know, I mean, maybe he might... 7 laps, newer tyres than Lewis Hamilton. He might be able to do something with Lewis, maybe, but that Mercedes is quite quick. Now, Ferrari, they've kind of modified the bits that they put on that car. They look a little bit lost with the upgrades that they're putting on the Ferrari now. It's just not quite doing what they want. They, from what I've heard, the car, the new floor and everything that they put on it is making the thing bounce again, like the bad days of 2022. Yeah, Gasly's out. Well, that's a shame. Alpine right now are in all sorts of a fucking mess, aren't they? I mean, here we are, lap 37 of 70. Ocon running 18th. The car's not quick. Um, they've had more firings than points this year. It's a grim season, very grim season for Alpine. Joe finally hits the pits. For what point at this point? Verstappen again, very, very close, just can't get it done. This is almost like Alonso on Hamilton in 2021, isn't it? Long history, these two as well. I get the feeling there's a lot of respect between them, but they don't really like each other. Oh, look at Verstappen all over the back of Lewis. There's just nowhere through there. This is why they call it the Monaco without the walls. Monaco of the Eastern Europe. It's very small. It's very tight. That's what she said. It's oh, it's very easy to block cars off here. I mean, a passing can be done here. It can be done. It's not like it's impossible. Like Monaco is basically impossible for passing now. I mean, it's so rare there. Here, passing can be done mostly into turn one, and when you've got a decent run, it's very hard to keep a car behind. Um, which we might be able to see here. Hamilton point seven now ahead. Charles Leclerc getting a little bit closer. Verstappen, yeah, still not quite close enough. He's going to have to be about point 0.4, point 0.3 coming off the final corner to be able to do anything against Lewis here, or maybe hope that Lewis locks up into turn one again. Look at the McLaren's just running away with it. Now Norris is only 1.4 seconds, 1.3 seconds behind Piastri. Ah, this is starting to get a little bit interesting here. Well, more interesting. The intrigue's starting to pay off now. Okay, so they're telling Norris it's okay to race against Piastri, but you got... Oh, I think what they don't want is the cars to collide. And this is going to be an Australian beating home Lando Norris. It looks like, at least, again. Um, I wonder if after the final pit stops, McLaren will make the call and just say absolutely not. Now, 1.3 seconds is very, very crucial here because it means if Norris pits first and if Piastri is first on the road, then he should Hamilton stay out. Okay, so they don't want to pit Hamilton yet, probably because he's holding up Verstappen. There's nothing that gets Toto Wolff and Mercedes off like griefing a Red Bull. Um, oh, if Norris pits first, I think he can undercut Piastri. So what do McLaren do? Oh, look at Verstappen getting very close to Lewis here. Very, very close. Lewis saying it's a long way to go on that tyre. You never know with Lewis. That could just be code for the tyres actually working perfectly. I'm just doing this for a laugh. Well, you come back at the right part, huh? Verstappen not happy with the engine mode that Red Bull are telling him to use. He's flustered, isn't he? Very. I don't know if he sounds haunted or just really pissed off. He just doesn't sound that keen. I mean, we've heard Verstappen complaining like this all year, and he's still putting away win after win. So, Hamilton pits, Verstappen goes by. Now, oh, Leclerc in right behind Hamilton into the pit lane as well. So it's been good for Ferrari to be able to catch up like this. Now, I'd imagine Mercedes will beat Ferrari out. Yes, they will, but Leclerc will be right on his arse here coming out of the pit lane. So this is very good for Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc, who has been quietly putting together a very respectable season, normally top five finishes, um, the odd podium as well, and a win in Monaco. I think he don't be sleeping on Charles Leclerc. I mean, championship's done, forget about that. But he's really, really showing his talent this year. Um, it's a shame that car's not any better. The car's not great, and the strategy is usually complete dog shit. Now, what is this? A replay of Piastri? Oh, going very, very wide. Okay. Look how dusty it is offline. Oh. It's really heating up now. So what is this? Norris 2 seconds now behind Piastri. They've both gone through for another lap. Oh. Okay, yeah, Max ain't feeling it anymore. It's impressive how we let ourselves get undercut and completely fuck my race. Ooh. I mean, Red Bull aren't really doing themselves any favours here, let alone whatever Perez is doing. Um, Checo, where's Checo now? Seventh place. Could be worse. So 1.8 seconds now, Piastri and Norris, and they both just went through a bit of traffic. In fact, they got a little bit of traffic coming up as well. Not really as bad as what they've just gone through. Piastri radio saying it's very early to stop now, so they don't want to. I think they were that worried about an undercut with Hamilton. I think they're just focusing on themselves, which is a good thing. It's what you want McLaren to do. I think they lost Silverstone because they weren't focused on what they're doing. They were focused on what everyone else is doing. It's a tense race, this. I mean, it's not so much just like balls to the wall, passing, but it's very, very tense. There's a lot of different elements coming in here, strategy elements. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, my head says Piastri wins, Norris second, Verstappen third, and it'll probably stay that way, but the way that it's going right now, Hamilton's a real fly in the ointment, same as Leclerc. You know, Norris has his, apparently his throttle problems. I don't know if they're still there. They were working on the car before the start of the race, so they might have ironed that out. In fact, I haven't heard Norris saying anything about it. McLaren look well in control here, but you never really know. 27 laps to go. About to hit lap 44 of 70 here. There we go. Piastri Norris about 1.5 seconds. Verstappen 8 odd seconds behind them. Then Sainz, Hamilton, Leclerc, Perez, Russell, Stroll, and Tsunoda in 10th. Then Alonso, Bottas, Ricardo, Hulkenberg, Albon, K-Mag, Ocon, Sargent, Zhou Guan Yu bringing up the rear, and Gasly has retired. Very tense. Very, very tense. Anyway, what else has been going on in F1 land? This is it's drawing me in, this race. It really, really is. Sometimes I could just talk shit because nothing's happening, but this one is very, very interesting. It's very tense. And even if it does end up like this, I gotta say the way that you get to the result is very interesting. You know, some games of soccer finish 1-0 and they're very, very interesting. Some games finish 5-0 and they're just a smash. They're not that entertaining to watch, especially if it's your team getting smashed. That's Ricciardo getting around the outside of Valtteri Bottas into 12th place at turn 1. Nice pass. Very nice pass. I remember them coming together there a few years ago. Now, Ricky might... now, he's riding behind Tsunoda today. They're running Tsunoda and Ricciardo on very different strategies. I think just Ricciardo really, he got hurt in his first stop coming out behind K-Mag, and that he couldn't get by him again. That basically fucked his race, I think. So Tsunoda, I'm pretty sure, has just been on the one stop. Ricky, I'm pretty sure, is on the two. God, it's such a head fuck trying to get your mind around 20... Oh, Norris, box, here we go. It's such a head fuck trying to get your mind around 20 different strategies. When and where everybody pitted when you don't have a pen to write these things down. Anyway, Norris pits. Oh. Now, this is going to be very, very interesting. Is Norris going to get his marks? He got them. He missed them at Silverstone, but he got them today. It looks like a good stop. 2.3 seconds. That's not that bad. Where's he going to come out? Is he going to come out? Oh, in front of Bottas. I think he's got a little window here to work with. Bottas is going to get ahead of him. Little lock up. But Bottas's lap traffic, he'll have to get out the way. There he goes. No problem. So really nothing lost there, apart from a slight lock up. Oh. Now we'll see what Piastri does. Tell you what, if Piastri comes out ahead of Norris, if he pits this lap, which I think he should, if he pits this lap and he comes out ahead of Norris, game over. I think it's done. Unless Norris wants to really force the issue, trying to get medium tyres to the end of the race. 24 laps to go, so it'll be about 25 laps he has to make. Now, these tyres will last that long. I mean, Stroll is just pitting now on 31 lap old mediums, so the tyre will make it. The track will be rubbering in every single lap for the rest of the race. Let's replay the little lock up there. And that car is going to get lighter every single lap of the race. So the tyre should be treated okay through the end of the race, as long as he doesn't go absolutely hell for leather. But if he doesn't, then he might not be able to get past Piastri. This is the trade-off. 1.1 seconds Norris to Sainz ahead of him. Looks like Piastri's gone ahead for another lap. Oh, not sure about that. Now, there was a point in Formula One where team orders were banned, and the way that they would switch cars around is just to mess with their strategies. You know, obviously overcut or undercut one car against the other. Now, I wonder if maybe McLaren are playing a little bit nice with Norris than they are with Piastri. Oh, 18 seconds. Norris is going to get him, but Piastri will have the better tyres. It just depends how long are they going to run Piastri here. And if Piastri pits now, I think McLaren have completely fucked him. And he's pitting. I think the only way he could have really made this work now is just to take the pain now, to come back with maybe 15, 12 laps to go, pit then, and then have super fast tyres, and then try to get past Norris that way. I think he's going to get clear undercut here, although Sainz might be helping him. Look at Sainz. I think Sainz is just ducking into the pits here now. Lando onto the front straight. This is going to be very, very close. I think Lando's going to get him. He's got him. Lando's got him. Lando has got him after all. Oh. Now that is McLaren undercutting the leader. Hamilton saying a stop too short at the first stint. Stop short. That's my move. I mean, Lewis can complain all he wants about Mercedes' strategy today and all season, but he is in for a world of this next season onwards. So, get used to it, Lewis. If you like ridiculous strategies that don't make sense, you are heading to the right place. So that's 2 laps, 2 extra laps that Norris could do to have properly undercut Piastri for him. Now, here we go, Norris radio. Oh, is that? I think Piastri's just gone a little bit wide there. Now, McLaren want Norris to give it up. No fucking way does Norris get the lead back. I think McLaren knew that ahead of time too. Oh, let's see how cocked he really is. Now, what I would say is McLaren pay his bills, and McLaren should get what they want every fucking time he's in the car. Fastest lap tells me that Norris ain't interested. Ah, this is a real. This is a headache for McLaren now. What are they gonna do? It's a very interesting headache, but it's a headache nonetheless. They could tell Norris, move over. I mean, they have told Norris, we want to re-establish the position. They probably had an agreement before the race. Whoever's out of lap 1 ahead will stay ahead. Because that's a way that you protect a 1-2. Yeah, that is just a replay of Norris going a little bit wide on his tyres. Oh, Piastri rather going wide on his tyres. Norris will be saying for the rest of the race, no, he's not that quick anymore. So here we go. This will be Norris saying Piastri's just not that fast. This will be Piastri saying, no, 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 Mom said it's my turn on the Xbox. Give me the controller. Duh. It's going to be an interesting cooldown room if Norris doesn't want to move over. Now, I think Norris is desperate for the win. I think he will look at last week, or 2 weeks ago at Silverstone, last time out. Max in the pits, not a great stop. 2.3 seconds. Why didn't that look not that great? But it's still 2.3. I thought the right rear was a bit slow getting on, but maybe it just didn't really make a difference. This is a very interesting dynamic here now. So Verstappen has 9 laps over Leclerc and Hamilton on their tyres, but he's going to have to make this work. He's got a few seconds to catch up to Leclerc. Sainz is too far behind. I don't think it really matters. This is where where Red Bull need Perez to actually start coming to these fucking parties, because they can't do anything. They can't mess around with strategies like Ferrari can, or like Mercedes can, maybe not today, but usually, or like McLaren can, where they can offset things, where they can force pit stops. Like Mercedes forced Verstappen into a pit stop, for instance. Red Bull need a second gunner. They really desperately need a second gunner, and they just flat out don't have it. And unless Checo gets his shit going ASAP, and it might already be too late, I get the feeling he might get the arse. I get that feeling, and I'm not sure where I see Perez if he does get the arse. It could be Audi, it could be Sauber, because apparently nobody wants that seat. So, it's perfect for a guy like Checo, who has a bit of technical knowledge, who's a decent peddler, who's a solid peddler. Even, with this run, I think if you take the pressure of Red Bull off of him, I think he really would excel. A bit Heinz-Harald Frentzen-esque. I think he needs to feel loved, and I don't think he really feels loved at Red Bull. And let's face it, he was their fallback plan. Okay. So they're telling Piastri basically you have to catch up to Norris and then he'll let you through. 19 laps to do it. They don't want to ship a lot of race time because Verstappen is on the attack. He's on the chase. The chase is on. Now, like I've said before, this has worked in the past. It's worked in the past. It worked for Lewis Hamilton here in the past. Very entertaining race as well. Again, another slow burner where the first half was really just the setup for the second half. Very, very interesting. Now, if Perez does not see the end of the season, if he does not show up in Zandvoort, I get the feeling Ricardo would probably be the safer pair of hands. I've heard that they might end up putting Liam Lawson in that seat anyway. I've heard that the filming day that he did after Silverstone wasn't that impressive, but then I also heard that it was impressive enough. Um, it's hard to call. This is one of the most volatile driver markets I've ever seen in my entire life. It is just crazy. And these seats, like Checo was safe for the next 2 years, and now he might not even see the season out. You know, it's absolutely insane. So Verstappen now 2.2 seconds behind Leclerc, who is 1 second behind Lewis Hamilton. Now, Lewis Hamilton is very important here. It's on hard tyres, which ain't that quick, and they're 11 laps old. Verstappen should be able to get by him. However, he was having a lot of problems getting by him before. If Lewis can keep Max behind again, if he can do a little bit of the Fernando Alonso on Lewis Hamilton from 21, if Lewis can do that, and you'll know he'll want to because it will completely fuck Max's race. More than anything, I think more than fucking Max, he wants to fuck Christian Horner. I don't think they really got a lot of love for each other. No. So McLaren is starting to feel a little bit edgy here. Verstappen is on the prowl. Again, Lewis Hamilton, Leclerc, we'll see. But that Ferrari ain't that quick, and I get the feeling Leclerc will probably. I can't see him giving too much grief to Max if Max is trying to get by because Leclerc's got his own race to run. It's probably better for him to fall back behind Max and see if he can use Max getting by Hamilton as a impetus to also get by Hamilton. However, Hamilton is the key here. He is the linchpin. Um, if Hamilton can keep Verstappen behind for even 5, 6, 7 laps, it could be absolutely crucial for McLaren. I don't think they feel that safe out in the lead. Verstappen absolutely fucking melting down in the car there. So a little bit of fucking poor Max's poor strategist GP is a bit battered wife, isn't he? Just taking constant shit from Max. Oh, Russell pits again. How about that? Perez gets out ahead of him, or is rather running ahead of him now. So Russell on hards, that'll see him through to the end of the race. Hard tyres though. I mean, he's going to have to thrash the shit out of those things now. I mean, 16 laps is probably enough to thrash the shit out of hard tyres, and it won't matter. Stroll's right up the back of Ricardo as well, just looking through the field. It's pretty much the only fight going on besides this sort of Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton fisticuffs that we got boiling over here. Speaking of boiling over, Verstappen rather, is absolutely fucking melting down in his car, isn't he? Really melting down. Oh, now, I don't, like I said before, I don't think Leclerc is really going to give Max the hardest time if Max can get by. However, Leclerc is quick and Max will have to earn his way by. He's not just going to give it up. He won't fight it, I think, but he's not just going to give it up. Max is going to have to take it. But how adventurous does Max want to be? The thing is, the championship's done. Like, even if Norris wins today and Verstappen finishes fifth, it doesn't even matter a lick to me. I think the championship's done. It's like 2009. Oh, Norris radio, they're still worried about the tyres. So Norris is arguing his position here. I think he wants to win the championship. I think he wants to fight for the championship. I think that it's totally fucking... Max already has 7 wins, and Norris, if he keeps it together today, he'll have 2. 2 versus 7. You know, I don't see it happening. I just don't see Norris, even with a car like this, being able to catch Max. Max will win more races before the end of the season. And I just don't... Like, a bad day for Max is today, where he's still 5th. And will probably end up 3rd. If not 2nd. If not winning. So, that said, look at Lewis Hamilton a little bit further up the road now. Leclerc's dropped 2 seconds off him, so Leclerc's definitely driving in his mirrors here. Max just cannot get by. Russell, fastest lap, 8 seconds behind Perez. That'll be an interesting one to watch as well. I get the feeling, what's Perez? 8 lap old mediums. Tell you what, 14 laps to go, 7.7 seconds now. If Russell can get past Perez, I really, really wonder if we're going to see Perez after the summer break. I get the feeling we will. I want to say that on record. I get the feeling we'll see it. Red Bull are ruthless. Checo has done good for the team. He's won races for them. He's been better in that seat than Gasly was, than Albon was. There's just a lot of revisionism that Max beat the shit out of Ricciardo when he was teammates with him. Flat out not fucking true. Here comes Max past Leclerc. Just like I said, will not fight it. He'll have to earn his way by, which he's just done, but will not fight it. And Leclerc smartly just lets him go, but he is going to try to hang off him as hard as he can. I don't think he believes he can get back past, however. He can use Max to get past Hamilton. He needs to stick close to him, though. He needs to stick really close. Hamilton's made it work, though, because he's now 2 seconds up the road. McLaren saying, well, no, you'll do the right thing to Lando Norris. I mean, I don't know why they've fucking done this, to be honest. I think McLaren doing the right thing is pitting Oscar before Lando. Not leaving him 2 laps out at the very least. I mean, Piastri had, 4 seconds to Lando? Pit him the next lap and it's no issue at all. But leaving him that extra lap out on track has totally put them in this situation. It never needed to happen. I think it's a bad strategy call out of McLaren. They'll get the win. Unless Max really, really wants to fucking do something interesting. I think they'll get the win here. But it's not going to be great for team harmony. And if Norris... I mean, put it this way. If Norris gives it up now, Norris is very angry. If Piastri gives it doesn't get it back, Piastri is very angry. You're going to have one driver really, really pissed off here. And it didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen. Yeah. 4.1 seconds now, Norris to Piastri. So Norris, like I said, Piastri has to catch him, but Norris is going to have to give up time here. The thing is, if Max gets right past Hamilton, then I'm not sure they could really afford it. What has he got? 9 odd seconds. 9 odd seconds. Verstappen, though, he might well have taken a bit out of his tyres there, getting past Leclerc. It's interesting. This is going to be one of those races where it's no matter... I mean, it could be Oscar's first win, which would be very... And I'm not counting that fucking sprint from last year. Fuck right off with that shit. In fact, there's some news for you. The sprints for next year got announced, and I don't give a flying fuck. I'll watch them. I'll stream them because I love Formula One. But the sprints themselves, as far as I'm concerned, they can fucking suck dicks in space. Fuck them. Not happy with them. I'll put it this way. It's very fucking telling of the sprint that every single sprint race we've had this year, the Grand Prix the next day has been better. And I don't just mean because it went longer. That's what she said. It was more interesting, more strategy, more things happened. There's a lot of tension here now. See, you wouldn't get this in a sprint. You just wouldn't. It would be fucking Oscar wins, probably Norris second, Max third, and then that's it. And they would have just held that for the rest of the race, and then that would be it. This is interesting. This is fun. This is Kino. This is Formula One. This is what it's about. Strategy, fun, drama, things like that. Not just fucking a few hot laps where you can't pass each other. And goddamn it, I will go to the fucking grave absolutely adamant. I'll watch them because I'm sad as shit, but I am absolutely adamant the sprints are shit. They will not work, and they cannot work. By definition, by essence, they cannot work. But I'll save that sprint route for the next time we endure one of those fucking things. Anyway, lap 60 of 70, 10 to go. Fuck. Jeez, it's really gone quick the second half of this race. Norris, Piastri, Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, Russell, Tsunoda, Alonso, Stroll, Ricciardo. Top 12. And then Hulkenberg, Albon, K-Mag, Ocon, Sargent, Bottas, Joe. Gasly is the only retirement. Pulled into the pits with a very limp-dicked car. Now, those Salvers being right at the back is no surprise. Logan Sargent being also at the back is really no surprise. And he had a good qualifying. And he had a decent qualifying this round, but it's just not enough. This is what I'm talking about, right? The Cash App car is 9th, Aston Martin's 10th. At some point, you're going to have, what have we got? 2 McLarens, 2 Red Bulls, 2 Mercedes, 2 Ferraris in the points. So it's just scraps from then on out. That's why it's so crucial that all of those teams at the back have 2 drivers who are absolutely on it every single time. You cannot have passengers anymore. And I think Logan Sargent, considering that his career in racing as a whole looked done and dusted at the start of 2022, okay, Norris is really starting to get the screw turned on him by the pit wall. I think so Verstappen here is again right on Hamilton. I think unless Max makes it work, 10.5 seconds though, Piastri to Hamilton. Norris is okay. So here's the thing, Jack. I'll tell you what's going on at the front. Norris wants to win. Piastri wants to win. Norris has been basically gifted the lead by McLaren because they kept Piastri out 2 laps. Should have been 1, or it should have been Piastri leading the pit stops, coming in first. That they let Lando undercut him, and they let him do that because they decided pit stops. They let him do that. I think was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, they didn't address it. They should have said straight away, drop behind, absolutely drop behind, or they give Norris a shit stop. They used to do that all the time. Like I was alluding back in the day when team orders were cancelled and they had to switch the cars around on the track and they couldn't do it explicitly via the radio. They would give somebody just like a delayed pit stop and it would be magic. You know, suddenly one car is ahead of the other. Verstappen and Hamilton side by side here through turn 2. Oh, that's very wide by Lewis. Squeezes Max out. Max is really lighting up the rears there. That's a good move by Lewis there. You know, I feel like I can really enjoy Lewis Hamilton now that he's not just stat padding in a car that is fundamentally a second quicker than the rest of the field. I like this. I like watching him like really fight for every quarter. It's great. I mean, he's always fought his whole career, but This somehow seems more fun. It seems more fun. Probably because I don't know. It's more fun this year. It really does seem more fun. Loving these two go at it. Shouldn't you leave a car's width? Yeah, I think you're behind at the Apex Max. Whatever, man. Verstappen again, melting down. God bless him. So, anyway, back to what I was saying. Norris, Piastri both want to win. McLaren want the 1-2. They fucked up the pit stops, and now Norris, they've told him, oh, Max is going really... He's out. He's out. Max, contact at turn 1. Unbelievable. That's a big hit. Oh, that car, that wheel, I'm not sure about that. Leclerc goes by him. Well, McLaren have just been gifted the 1-2, so Norris really should just drop behind Piastri now. Look at that rear left. It's taken an absolute fucking clattering. Wow. I was just saying, I love these two going at it. I love them going at it because it's so much fun, and then you just get shit like this. This is 2 races out of 3 now. We're right at the end. Now, what kind of damage does Lewis have here as well? Because that was a big hit. Norris is arguing now with the radio. Oh, this is... Norris is getting a little bit of the Sebastian Vettels here. But just keep in mind, Seb Vettel, when he did this in Malaysia, I mean, he earned my personal ire for the rest of time because it was Mark Webber. He's doing it with another Aussie, but this Aussie's from Melbourne, so I don't really give a shit. Oh, that's a big hit for Verstappen there. Jesus Christ. Just that. Replay there. So Lewis just kind of turns into him. I think just got surprised. Got surprised. Max just sort of arrives on the scene and he's just going straight through the corner. Now, yeah, Lewis is... I mean, slow motion replays I think are unfair because it looks like Lewis has waited and then smacked into him. This has all happened in like a couple tenths of a second. Verstappen says it's moving under braking. And is that Christian Horner, I think, on the radio too? He's not even going to get into a radio fight about the other teams. There's a lot of discontent today. I think Leclerc, Hamilton will probably be happy if he, can bring that car home after that hit. But, for 200 podiums as well, that's a hell of a milestone for Lewis. That's an amazing milestone, actually. In fact, it'd be the very first time in history. Verstappen's going to be very angry after this, and Norris or Piastri are both going to... Maybe they'll both be very angry after this. Russell, meanwhile, is sneaking up on Perez, but I think it might be too late to really do anything. Yeah, I don't think Perez or Russell really had the best strategy today. I don't think there was a lot that they could do from where they were. In fact, probably finishing behind Sainz in 7th and 8th is probably the best they could have hoped for. So, there is that. There's no real safety car or anything to magic them up there. Sargent's in the pits. I couldn't imagine why, unless they wanted to go for a fastest lap just for a laugh, but, it's Mercedes have that. Unless they're afraid that Tsunoda might go for that. Wonder if the podium boos are about to make their return. Oh, I don't know. Oh, it's hard. It's very exciting, all of this. It's very, it's not just today is the thing. It's the dynamic will change here. McLaren have these guys locked in for the long term until, I think, the end of 2026. So both of them are committed. Norris is McLaren guy. Piastri was a later addition. So Norris really is the baby of the team. And he leads the team now. He wants the team to be all his. Giving Piastri, and this is what he will see it as now, giving Piastri this win, after Norris thinks that he has earned it with the undercut. This is just Absolutely incredible. Norris and Verstappen are both having massive fucking arguments with their team. The way this is going, either Norris gives it up on the final lap and is just sour as shit, like he's drank fermented milk. Piastri, the longer we leave this, the riskier it gets. It couldn't be getting passed from behind because they are leaving everybody else behind. That shit doesn't matter at all. Sargent is on the soft, so and so is Ocon. So we'll see which of them is going to pointlessly pick fastest lap. Of course, they're picking it off the Mercedes, which I don't think really matters. Jeez, this is very, very interesting. Just very quietly, Russell is making a little bit of a move on Perez, but I'm not sure if that's really going to get anywhere. But it almost doesn't even matter. Norris Piastri is going to be very interesting. Verstappen and his team, I think it's just a bad day. I think a day like today, they will, they'll say their piece and they'll get angry and, all of that shit. But at the end of the day, I think they'll be fine. Verstappen as well is basically convinced he's going to stay at that team through 26 now because they've re-signed Helmut Marko through 2026. So it looks like Verstappen will end up staying there after all. So Toto Wolff is going to have to just put Kimi Antonelli in the seat or Carlos Sainz, one of the two. Either way. So Max to Mercedes was a fun story while it was running. Unlikely, but that 1% of maybe. Safety car is going to make this awkward. Please do it now. I mean, it would be a good excuse because then I was could say, well, I was going to do it on the last lap, but whoops. Whoa, what can you do? I think Lando, Ted Kravitz in the pit saying he's trying to wondering what Norris is trying to prove here. I think he's just saying this is my fucking team. No, he's slowing. He's slowing on the front straight. Norris got cucked. And you know what? I'm going to come out and say it. I think this is a bad move by McLaren. I think it's a bad fucking move. Norris just saying don't say anything on the radio. Yep, he's fucking done with the team. This is a bad move from McLaren. I really think so. I really think so. I think they created this situation. I think the pit wall once again fucked up, which is a hell of a thing to say for a team that's going to win 1-2. I think McLaren totally fucked the situation. If they'd pitted Piastri first, or if they had a pitted Piastri with one lap and not been undercut, then it would have been fine. They've introduced all of this tension, and now they've exacerbated it. Piastri's going to get his first win, and that's great for the lad. But Norris is going to be absolutely spitting chips unless he just goes for a pass and they actually try to fight each other, which would be fucking hilarious. I think Piastri is going to be fucking stoked. He's going to see it as justice, and this was the right thing because he was leading and he should never have been fallen behind. I would almost willing to say just tough shit, It's not like I mean, the difference I think Seb Vettel in 13 at Malaysia and this, well, Seb didn't give it up. He just said, no, fuck it, it's my team, and I'll take whatever you got because I still get the win. And that he also passed on the track. He disobeyed the team by ignoring for several laps them saying, don't make a move, and then he made a move. And he won. That's shady shit, but this was the team doing it. This was the team putting Norris ahead. And I think it's a bad move by McLaren. I really think so. This is the kind of shit they say, like, if you're going to go for the championship, then you will need Oscar. Fuck it. What you need to go for the championship is points on the board. And he's right now just leaving 7 points on the board. And if McLaren will magic some sort of a championship comeback and it comes down to the final race, and this is all fantasy because I just straight up don't think and Max is going to lose his championship. I don't think so. But if it comes down to the final race and Norris loses by anything, 7 points or less, it all comes down to this. It comes down to this day. Because more than anything else, more than throwing away a win at Silverstone or Austria or any of that sort of shit, This is guaranteed points in the bag. This right here is guaranteed points in the bag, and they have blown it. To me, that's it. They had better McLaren, for their own sake, had better hope that they don't even come close to actually fighting for this championship, because this is going to drive a wedge. And who needs a driver right now? Fucking Red Bull. And who's been sniffing around Lando Norris for years? Red Bull. This is the kind of shit. I remember Williams 03, Montoya and Williams had a massive argument in the car, and afterwards Ron Dennis got all nice and cozy with Montoya, you know, maybe put something in his drink, a little bit of a cuddle, a little bit of a feel, come here baby, and he convinced him to sign, and Williams lost Montoya. It's the same sort of shit. If you piss your driver off enough, they will just start looking elsewhere. It's very easy to get in their ear. Yeah, look at Norris, 1.6 seconds behind. So, you know, here we are, almost lost in all of this. Piastri is 2 corners away from winning his first Grand Prix. And honestly, well done to the kid. Well done to the kid. It was a very interesting race. Piastri around the final corner wins. Well done. Well done, Oscar. Well done, Oscar. Genuinely mean it. Well done, Oscar. He's been threatening to do that for a while. I think I've been feeling that his first win is coming. And there it is. And again, another first time winner in Hungary. So Piastri, Norris, Hamilton. 3 spiritual McLaren guys on the podium. Then Charles Leclerc. Max Verstappen 5th. Oh, that's going to hurt. Carlos Sainz 6th. Then Perez. Russell, who is going to finish, 2 seconds behind Perez. Yuki Tsunoda, 9th. Lance Stroll in 10th. Stroll ahead of Alonso as well. How about that? That's what the undercut couldn't do for you. Stroll ahead of Alonso in 11th, and Ricciardo in 12th. Hulk, Albon, Magnussen, Bottas, Sargent, Ocon, and Zhou Guanyu, the final car. Gasly did not finish. That is the finishing order, so that race got so interesting at the end. I kind of... here we go, radio. Well done, you know, all of that. Oscar almost sounds bored by his first win. He's a bit like an Aussie Kimi Räikkönen, isn't he? Or is Bottas more of an Aussie Kimi Räikkönen? Yeah, Piastri said it's more painful than it needed to be. I think that's a little bit of a... You fucking did this, guys. You did this. I want to hear Lando radio. I want to hear Lando radio because it'll be very interesting, and I want to hear Max radio because it will be very funny. And hey, here we go, Lewis Hamilton 200 podium. So well done, Lewis. Well done, Lewis. So Lando just saying very sarcastically, well done, many points for the team. The engineer's saying, like we said this morning, I'm guessing at the team meeting, like, there'll be plenty more opportunities. You fucked this up. Okay, so just really quickly, what I'm going to say is, that was an interesting race. Let's say 3.5. 3.5 out of 5, maybe a soft 4 out of 5. It wasn't a classic. Especially the on-track product wasn't fantastic. However, the intrigue behind it was very, very interesting. This is one of the focal points. This is one of the turning points of the championship, I think. It was good to see Oscar win his first race. That's an extra point there as well. So yeah, fuck it, why not? Let's say a soft 4. A 4 out of 5. It was fun. It was very fun. It was very entertaining. Oscar with a win. Good work. Good work, buddy. So here we go. Second season in Formula 1. Grand Prix winner. Oscar Piastri. Lando's thanking Oscar, well, congratulating him rather. I think he knows that Oscar's not at fault here, it's the team. Lewis Hamilton pulls in for his 200th podium. It's a bit of an historic day this then, isn't it? Good stuff, good stuff. So, 4 out of 5. Yeah, fuck it, let's say it. 4 out of 5, that was fun. Max Verstappen's meltdown was fucking hilarious. Really funny. I love Max, and this sort of shit is just... It's just gold, because he's just such a... He's just funny when he complains, I guess. I don't know. That's all I can say. When he's sort of losing his rag, it's like Kimi Raikkonen used to be on the radio. When he's losing his mind, it's really funny. He's just got a funny way of complaining. He's a natural born entertainer. What can I say? I don't know. So that was fun. Not great for Verstappen, fifth place, but again, I think he's so far ahead in the championship, it doesn't even matter. I think this maybe championship push by McLaren was probably a false dawn, but okay. Now what I'm going to say is big fucking mistake. Big mistake today. Lando should have won. Lando should have won. McLaren should have they should have apologized, like head on the floor, fucking bowing, prostrating at Oscar after the race and said, "We're sorry, we fucked that up. It should have been your win, and your first win will come, and we're fucking sorry, and we screwed it up. Please forgive us." Instead, they have created this situation that is going to absolutely fuck with Lando, and I'm not saying it will, but it could drive a wedge between Lando and the rest of the team. And when they say there will be plenty more opportunities, this here is an opportunity. This is guaranteed. You have to take it when it's there. When the opportunity is there, take it. Don't fuck around. Don't do things like this. Don't do things like this. Like I said before, if it's 7 points or less at the end of the season and Lando loses, this is the race. This right here is the race. This is guaranteed points because the car made it home and everything was fine. This is guaranteed points that they threw away. And again, for what? At the end of the day, like it's great for Oscar that he can get his first win. It's great that the team are, I guess, maybe too fair with him. But I think at the expense of Lando's points, when they are that far behind in the championship already, to me, big mistake. Big mistake. Anyway, going through. So McLaren 1-2 with probably their worst 1-2 of recent memory. Hamilton third, great result for him in a weekend where he hasn't looked 100% on it. I think that's a great race. It was a good start, and the rest of it just kind of fell from there. The strategy didn't look great, and the car didn't look great, but he made it work. Leclerc fourth, just kind of in no man's land, which is where Ferrari are right now. They're not really shit, but they're not all that great either, like Tottenham. Verstappen fifth, lost his rag, lost his mind. It was very entertaining. At the end of the day, I don't think his championship's in trouble, so, bad day at the office, but this is sort of shit where they go on holiday after next weekend and you just sort of forget about this. Science 6, again, no man's land, whatever. Perez 7th, Russell 8th. Russell got caught out by the conditions yesterday. I think probably set his quality lap too early, and that basically fucked the rest of his weekend. Perez crashing. Fuck. And again, like today, Perez should and could have been on that podium, and he's not. And like Australia, when Max didn't finish and Perez was nowhere to capitalize on it, Nico Rosberg with the interviews. I want to see them together. I want to see Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton together. Maybe after their careers are done or some shit, like when they're a little bit removed. Yeah, okay. So Nico's very, very gentle with questions here. I think Lewis, you can tell just from the body language, I don't think he's that comfortable talking to Nico still. I mean, Nico really did a number on his head. Jesus Christ, really, really did. I need to find out everything that happened in 2016 because it's still so interesting to me. The engineer swap, the mechanic swap and all that sort of shit. All the things going on behind the scenes. I think it would have been absolutely fascinating. Not least that it was just the total destruction of anything that they used to be growing up. It's Shakespearean almost. Two guys, two brothers by another mother, basically falling out completely and then never coming back again, fighting for the championship. It is absolute cinema, and it was fantastic. And it's that kind of shit that makes me think the F1 movie's probably gonna fucking suck, because that is real. Anyway, Where was I? Yeah, Perez, no good. Russell, no good. Tsunoda, ninth, decent points. Decent points out of Tsunoda. And it's a good recovery after his crash yesterday, so good for him. Stroll, Alonso, 10th and 11th. Stroll points, Stroll ahead of Alonso again. Alonso not looking that great. Not looking that fussed, really, with the car lately. Not looking all that comfortable with it. Um, he'll be wanting to really kick on in the second half of the season. I think he's just going to get through Spa, and then we'll see what they've got for the second half of the year. I think what will get Alonso more motivated is if Aston Martin can get Adrian Newey across the line. If they can do that, then Fernando's all back in. If not, then I wonder if maybe he'll just be like, "Nah, fuck this," and pull the plug. I don't think he will, but it's an interesting thought. Maybe bookmark that one for later. Just keep it in the back of your head. Little note. Ricardo 12th. Really, really could have used the points today. Really could have used the points. But, just don't think I don't think his strategy worked. I think coming out behind K Mag after the first stop just kind of consigned him to being down there. Yeah, 41 laps in the hard in the end as well. Same as Tsunoda. So, yeah. Oof, yeah. But I think Tsunoda had just the one stop. Ricky had the extra stop. So, yeah, that's what that was. Just couldn't make it work. Hulkenberg, well, the Haas is not great. 13th and 15th. Albon 14th. I mean, everybody else is just basically the same story today. Oscar's absolutely loving it. Loving life there. It's your first win, sort of. 115th race winner in Formula One. Good grief. The first new Australian race winner since Daniel Ricciardo as well. So that's it. I mean, you could say today, this is it. This is McLaren, and their strategy is completely fucked today. And their driver merry-go-round in the IndyCar this year has been absolutely hysterical and fucking ridiculous. But I mean, that's validation right there. They got it done. And no booze. No booze after all. So, well, that solves that question. Anyway, I'm just starting to babble on now. Yeah, the rest of the grid, no points. No real point mentioning it, to be honest. Everyone just kind of had the same nothing sort of a race. They'll have to start kicking on in the second half of the year. They're really, really going to have to, because Williams are desperate for points. Haas are going to have to try to do something to overturn Visa, Cash App RB, whatever the fuck they're called. And Sauber, I don't think have a point yet, do they? Fuck. Okay, so bad times all around at the back of the grid. We'll see what comes for the rest of the season. Who knows? This it might get very interesting. In fact, Max hasn't been winning a whole lot lately, so this is 3 races in a row where Max hasn't won, actually. When's the last time we had that? 21? The end of 21? Yeah. I think when Lewis won, I think, what was it, 3 or 4 in a row at the end of 21? Fuck. Okay, well, that's it. I guess Red Bull's kind of done. It's just funny that McLaren have figured out how to, get the win sealed and still manage to fuck things up entirely. Anyway, it'll be fun. It'll be fun seeing where this leads. It was fun seeing where it led today. It'll be fun next week. Thank you. Speaking of next week, Spa. Lovely. Last race before the summer break, while I adjust this for the final time. Last race before the summer break. Should be a whole lot of fun. Great track. Absolutely fantastic track. So hopefully it'll be an absolutely fantastic race as well. It's usually fun. We'll see. In fact, it's going to be very, very interesting. I can't pick a winner yet. McLaren look quick. Red Bull looks quick. Mercedes looks quick. Ferrari, who knows? They could be quick. You never know. It's the fun bit. I can't pick a winner now. It's enjoyable, this. So let's say it'll probably be Max winning then. Anyway, I'll be back here next week talking absolute bollocks again. Thank you very much for watching. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you tuned in, whatever you thought. Yeah, it's been great to have you along. I hope you're well. Hope you have a good week and all the rest of it. Yeah, look at that, Oscar. Good work. Good work, buddy. Good work. Yeah, that's really the moral of the day. All you have to do is just scream at your mum that you really, 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 really want the Xbox controller, and eventually you'll get your way. fuck it. Anyway, and then the cool down room. You feel the tension already. Lewis doesn't know what to say. Pouting at him and shit. Alright, anyway. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all again next weekend at Spa. Have fun. See you then. Ta-ta for now. Bye-bye.